With the climate of women's basketball right now, record-breaking viewership, how much of an impact do you think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese had on that?
You know, what Caitlin's done for viewership is amazing, what Angel's done, and not just for themselves, but for the rest of the women in the league, because they're, you know, the best women's basketball players in the world.
What would you say your biggest obstacle in life has been?
Toughest one is 10 years ago, I had cancer. If I can beat cancer, something that was literally made to kill me, there ain't nothing on the planet that can kill me. Long story short, she OD'd and died that night. A lot of people didn't know how close we really were. She was the first person I knew that she was gay. You know, I think there's so many filters in this world. You know, look at all them filters on Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok. But people really living out here with filters over their lives.
I'm stuck in traffic. It's saying I'm gonna take an hour to get there.
You lying?
Nah.
Dang.
It's accurate. Always something.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah.
I'm just playing, bro. Bring your ass up.
Bruh, I was gonna say. What's going on, guys? Hey, so today we're here with Dr. Chantel Tremetiere, aka Auntie, former WNBA player.
Now superstar of social media and the first lady of Trick Shots.
Yes, we're gonna be talking about the current state of women's basketball. And you know, she's gonna tell some pretty inspiring stories. At the end, we're gonna challenge her to some trick shots.
And you gonna lose! Let's get it.
Let's get into it. What challenges did you face being a woman trying to go pro and be a professional as a women's basketball player?
Well, it was crazy, because when I was young, and a lot of young girls my age back then, before the WNBA came about, you know, our dream was to be the first woman to play in the NBA.
Okay.
And you know, I knew, like, I'm not playing with Allen Iverson and Shaq. What am I do going up against Shaq?
Right,
like, it ain't gonna happen. And so, you know, I knew at that point, like, all right, you know what, you're just gonna go to college. But I did know that you could go overseas and play.
Oh, okay.
You could go overseas and play. But after college, I didn't want to go overseas. And so I wanted to coach. And so I coached at the University of Texas and the University of Massachusetts.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to coach. And then, you know, it was that 5th year where I was up at UMass and I was thinking to myself, man, I don't know if I want to coach. And it was like 3 days later that they came out with the WNBA was gonna, was starting. And they're gonna get some people in the draft camp. And then it was a week later where I called Renee Brown.
How did they recruit?
Well, it's crazy. That story is a trick. So I was coaching. I was coaching at the University of Massachusetts, and I had been out of college for 5 years. And so, you know, I heard about the WNBA, and so I called the director of player personnel. And, you know, I said, hey, look, her name was Renee Brown. I was like, look, hey, you know, I'm Chantel Tremetiere. She was like, I remember you playing in the Final Four, blah, blah, blah. She said, you've been out of college for a little bit. And I said, yeah, about 5 years. And I said, but I want to come to the draft camp. And she said, you know, I'm only inviting 60 and I already have all of them invited. I said, no, I want to be at the draft camp. And she was like, you know, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Like, I've already got my 60. And I was like, okay, well, are you going to recruit anybody? Are you going to see any of the players that are going to be at this draft camp? And she's, well, actually, I'm going to be down in DC this weekend and, you know, going to see a couple players. And I said, you know what, bet. By this weekend, this was a Tuesday. I said, by this weekend, I'm going to find a team. I'm going to play in that tournament that you're going to be at. My team's gonna win the championship. I'm gonna get MVP, and you're gonna invite me to that draft camp. Thursday night, I found a team. Went down, played over the weekend. Squad won the championship. I got MVP. After the championship game, she came on the court, handed me her card, and said, welcome to the draft camp.
That's crazy. That's inspiring. I mean, especially for like anybody young that's like wanting to go get it. Like if you take no for an answer, that just means no, that's it. But if you go out and get it, I mean, success, you know, like it's not given. You have to go take it.
Well, that's the problem with some of the young kids these days, nephew, is, you know, kids these days expect everything. You know, they expect everything quick, you know, with social media in 30 seconds. They expect stuff in 7 to 15 to 30 seconds. No, back in the day, like you had to make your own destiny. So you still have to if you want to be successful. So that's what I did.
When you stepped on the court for the first time in the WNBA, what was that feeling like?
Oh my gosh. Felt like that. Cash.
Money?
The night before our first game, I went to the gym. It was at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just went and I sat in the middle of the court. All the lights were on. And I just took a second. I was like, man, I made it. I'm gonna be starting. I'm gonna be one of 8 point guards in the world who are starting tomorrow. And I remember looking up and I'm like, yo, like, give me a sign that I'm really supposed to be here. On God. At that moment, all the lights turned off in the gym, except one that was in mid-court. And I was like,
I literally have chills.
I was like, thanks for listening. And so we found out later as I was walking out, because the janitor didn't know I was in there.
Yeah.
And he just happened to turn off the lights.
Right.
And he was like, I didn't even know you were in here, 3.
Yeah.
They called me 3. I didn't even know you were in here. At that moment, like, I knew no matter what, no matter how long I stayed in the league or whatever, I knew at that moment that I was supposed to be there.
What would you say to not even just women that are trying to go pro, just anybody that's trying to go pro in basketball? Like, what advice would you give them if they're questioning themselves or if they even believe it?
If you're gonna question yourself, whether or not you can be a pro athlete, then you're not gonna be a pro athlete.
Okay.
The pros are the best.
Right.
And so they're not the ones that are gonna question themselves. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I never questioned myself.
Right.
Now, was my skill, equal to what I was thinking? Luckily, it was, and I made it. Sometimes, that's the problem, is a lot of young people today, my advice to boys or girls that are trying to go pro is don't let your dreams be bigger than your work ethic.
Okay.
You can dream all you want,
Right.
but if you don't have no work ethic, it's not gonna matter.
Okay, so Asia Wilson just recently.
Best player in the world.
Okay.
Best player in the world
I
right now.
second that.
Not even close.
I love
I
it.
second
love
that.
it.
Not even close.
She just released her new logo. What'd you think about it?
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love what I'm seeing on social media. Because
There's a little controversy, but going
but
back
I love
and
it
forth.
because the thing with the logo is it's about not whether or not you like it. It's about whether or not you remember it, or whether or not you associate it. So whether or not, that's what they're saying on social media, whether or not you like her logo or not, when you see that logo, you're gonna know that's Asia Wilson's logo.
Okay. Yeah.
And the thing about that is, I like that she didn't use like AW. I like that she didn't do that. There's a lot of logos out there like that. And, I love the story behind the star in her logo where she writes that in her signature. At the end of the day, Asia doesn't have to do anything hard to sell her logo. She just got to be her.
Yeah.
So I rock with it.
Yeah,
I can't wait till the shoe
yeah.
come out. Asia been A1 since day one.
Either in NCAA or WNBA, what's the craziest trash talk you have either received or given?
Well, let me tell you something. We talk more trash than the men. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, when we get personal. But the thing is, and some women take it personally. That's when you got them. You know what I'm saying? When you got them. I'm not gonna disrespect anybody. I wasn't talking about your mama. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing that, but I was talking about you. I'll tell you how ugly you are.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, give me $200.
You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you, man, how you get to the league, you looking like this, god dang. Like, the only reason she dating you is because you play in the league, right? Or he dating you because if you worked at McDonald's, your ass be single for the rest of your life, damn it.
Speaking of dating, Kelsey Plum's my girlfriend.
Is she?
Yeah.
Does Darren Waller know this, or?
I thought you don't know
Darren
the
Waller?
news?
I mean, I know they divorced, but
Yeah,
the divorce
that's
isn't final.
That's sure.
So until the
heard that.
divorce is final,
I heard that whack ass song he put out.
man, let me say something.
I know it is.
Pool right here, Darren.
Yeah. Come on, Darren.
Delete that shit.
Why?
Why, Darren?
You
Why?
need to delete that shit now. One, it make you desperate. Two, you should have worried about doing a song where you included her and appreciated her when you had her. And now you out here crying, putting somebody in the video who looks like her, thinking that's gonna get her back.
That was
Kelsey
wild.
has moved on, young man.
To me.
Nephew, Kelsey has moved on. I'm just saying.
That's why they split up. Because, me and her started talking, so,
But I would love to talk trash to Kelsey. Some of these girls these days, nephew, they couldn't handle auntie talking trash to them. I probably talk more trash now as auntie than I did as a basketball player.
With the climate of women's basketball right now, record-breaking viewership, the popularity is absolutely insane. There's so many eyes. How much of an impact do you think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese had on that?
Yeah, you got to give credit to both Caitlin and Angel, right? It started when they were in college and talking trash. Ever since Angel gave her that John Cena face, and Caitlin gave it to her. It's been a little made for TV rivalry, and it's come over into the league, and obviously, you know, what Caitlin's done for viewership is amazing. What Angel's done, and not just for themselves, but for the rest of the women in the league, because they're, you know, the best women's basketball players in the world. And more eyes that are on them, the better. And I think it's done great, and I'm so happy, and you know, just seeing where the game has come as a whole, I love it, and I'm a fan.
What would you say your biggest obstacle in life has been?
I had a few, you know, a few tough moments. Obviously, my mom passing while I was in grad school. You know, been in a lot of accidents in my life and things like that. You know, being given up as a baby for adoption, you know, that was tough. But toughest one is 10 years ago, I had cancer. I had thyroid cancer, and they took it out. They took half my thyroid out. They didn't think it was cancerous at first. And you know, I'm on social media talking shit like, I beat cancer, it wasn't no big deal. Like, they took it out, whatever, and went back in for a checkup. And I'll never forget, I was coaching at Auburn, and they were gonna call me that day. And so I handed it to my phone to the trainer. I was like, just let me know, you know, when he calls. This is his name, he'll call. So she yelled out, coach, phone, it's him. And for some reason, you know, she had answered the phone, but she hadn't said anything to him or anything. And by her face, I was like, something's not right. And so I go to answer the phone, and, hey doc, how you doing? And then he said it. He was like, you know, we're dealing with papillary carcinoma. And I said, well, I mean, what's that mean? What are we doing? He was like, gave me them 3 words. He was like, you have cancer. And so it was tough. And so anyways, you know, they went, checked it again, and it came back as, you know, now I got to go back underneath and get surgery again. And so, you know, I think, you know, what I was talking about, nephew, like how I'm always laughing in life. And I said to that moment, like, for a second, I pitied myself. Like, why cancer? Why me? You know, literally something's attacking me that's literally made to kill me. And so I said, you know what? From that moment on, I'm going to laugh this thing off. And I took the mantra of, she picked the wrong one.
I like
and you know, that's what I know now. Like, if I can beat cancer, and if I can beat something that, and that's what I would tell the kids these days, if I can beat cancer, something that was literally made to kill me, there ain't nothing on the planet that can kill me, and break me. So yeah, that was a tough one.
The story about your friend in college in the coke thing.
In high school.
That was high school. So yeah, what happened with that? Like,
yeah, best friend growing up, and we hung out a lot. You know, she was a year older than me, and played another school, Hooper. And you know, one time she invited me over to her crib, and parents weren't home, and it was, hey, yo, come here, let's, I want you to see something. She opened up the thing on the table, and some lines of coke. I didn't know what they were then. I never saw it before.
right.
And I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna call her Jen. Let's call her Jen. Yo, like, Jen, like, what is this? She was like, you know what this is. I was like, no, I don't know what it is. I'm like, is it flour or sugar or what? She was like, nah, it's, you know, it'll make you feel good. And I'm like, what you mean? You eat it? Right? She was like, no, you snort it. And she did it. She was like, do it like this. And I was like, I ain't finna do that.
Yeah, nah.
And I'm like, that's drugs. Like, I ain't finna do it. And that was back in Nancy Reagan day. Like, just say no. And I was like, nah. And so I was like, no, I don't want to do it. She's like, yo, like, we're best friends. Like, why wouldn't you do it? And I'm like, I can't do it. And she was like, well, if you don't do it, then I don't fuck with you no more. Like, you're not my friend. And so I was like, well, look, I'm gonna let you sleep it off. I'm gonna go back to the crib, you know what I'm saying? Got my ride back to the crib, went back home. Later on that night, got a telephone call. And long story short, she OD'd and died that night. And so it was rough.
Back to choices.
Absolutely, back to choices. And the thing is a lot of people didn't know how close we really were. Look, back then, like, she was the first person I knew she was gay. And I didn't want people to know that I hung around with her, because I didn't want people to think I was.
Wow.
when I was in high school. And so a lot of people didn't know we were friends. A lot of people. Some people in my family didn't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so it was tough. Like I had to mourn her, and even mourning her.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can't show how much, you know, I care about my friend.
Right. You almost couldn't express your whole entire like friendship feeling towards her just because she was gay?
She, at that point, right, I wasn't comfortable with where I was in life. And so I was like, I don't want people to think I'm gay hanging around her.
Yeah.
But she was comfortable with herself.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, I mean, I met her girlfriend and things like that. But I was like, I mean, we can be cool. Yeah. You know, we talk on the phone all the time, whatever, but can't nobody know we like that. Yeah, can't nobody know we friends, because I don't want nobody to think, you know, back in the day, you know. At that point, you know, I was 15 years old. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was tough. And it was tough, you know, at that point, walking away and saying, yo, I mean, sleep it off, I'll be all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Yeah. You know, you don't think about that. And that's what I was saying, like, life is so short. You just never know when, I mean, it's like that. Right. It's like that. You never know when your dash is gonna end. So you better spend it the way you can when you're here.
Yeah. Do you think that's where your joy comes from now? Is like everything you've been through, all the tragedies, losing your mom, losing a friend to drugs. I mean, even like overcoming, you know, the whole sexuality thing back then in the 80s, like now you're just like, I just want to live. I just want to be happy.
Now, one, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks.
I love that.
I don't give a shit what people think about who I love, who I don't love, who I hate. One thing you're gonna know about Auntie is you're gonna know how I feel about you. If I don't like you, we're not gonna eat. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. If I rock with you, we gonna hang out. But you know, I think there's so many filters in this world. You know, look at all them filters on Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok. But people really living out here with filters over their lives. And trying to live like other people. Like, you can't be anyone else because everybody else is already taken. So you might as well just come out and be yourself and just understand some people ain't gonna like you for who you are. They just not gonna like you just for your simple existence. And you gotta get to the point.
I heard you're doing something right if you got haters.
Bruh, but at the end of the day, you probably gonna have haters if you're doing something right or wrong nowadays, right? But if you're doing something really right, the haters, they gonna come out. And trust me, I got a lot of haters. I got a whole lot of haters. Ooh. I mean, you know.
Let me know something.
But let me tell you why you don't have to pull up on them. Because I don't give a fuck about them. You know what I'm saying? There's been people leave my life for one reason or another. I don't care. Right. I ain't gonna chase you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna beg you to stay in my life. Friends, family, loved ones, I don't care.
When you have that mentality, you attract the right people that need to be in your life.
Awesome.
You giving yourself permission to be who you are fully. The people that need to be around you or that need in your life, they're just gonna come.
They're gonna come. And that's the problem. Again, you go back to these kids these days, they wanna feel accepted all the time. They want everybody to like you. You know, then the famous ones, right? Even TikTok influencers, right? They love when people say how much they love them. But then, oh my God, they get on social media and get to crying when somebody goes on their social media and says, oh, you trash, you da-da-da-da. Yeah. And so my mama told me when I first got into the WNBA, was like, look, don't listen to the good, don't listen to the bad, just listen to the right. You gotta listen to what's right for you. And so at the end of the day, hey, I don't give a if you don't like me. I don't give a
For real.
Period.
We're keeping all this in there too.
Keep it all in there. I don't give a if you don't like Auntie. None. Zeros.
For real. All right, well, Auntie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Auntie.
Appreciate y'all for having us. Of course. You guys seen it. Auntie in the building. Dr. Chantel Tremetiere, aka Auntie. Thank you so much. Woo! It's a wrap.